And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at a little card game called Mad Cow. I know it's spelled like the Q-U. No, this is not made by WizKids, and there's another entry in their Quarriors thing. It's just Mad Cow, spelled with a Q-U. And it has really funny little artwork. This game is based on I don't even know what the base game is anymore. I've played many games that uses mechanism. Richard Garfield even designed one called Ghost for Yellow. There's Pig Pile from Richard Borg, all taking the same thing where basically you're trying to get rid of cards from your hand. So there's nothing really new here, except this one opens the box up, shoves some humor in, pushes it all the way in, and then tries to put more in. Does that work? Let's look. The cow is going to put a rule into play each round of the game, and each round of the game you'll add additional rules, and so basically they will fill in the blanks. So I could say, John is not funny. You must not have anything related to John. Or each time you make hand contact with the opponent, you must cry in unison. You can do whatever you want here, and you make these rules up. You're then going to make a deck of cards, these small cards here, and again, that deck is going to change according to the number of players. One person goes first and play goes around clockwise on the table. When it's your turn, you can play a card from your hand in front of you, and then each card played after that must be the same card or higher. So on top of a 3, I could play another 3. On top of that 3, I could play a 6. You're also allowed to play multiple cards from your hand as long as they're all the same number. So I could play, for example, 3 8s here. If there's ever a 4th card of a number played down, like I just did there, then the whole stack is wiped. After you play, you also need to draw a card from the deck. Now, there are a few special cards in the deck. If you play the Mad Cow card, that cancels all the cards, and it acts just like 4 of a kind. If you draw a bully rule card, you must immediately reveal it, and you now have a bully rule which you have to follow. These are drawn from another big deck of cards, just like the cow rules, and they make you do something. When responding to someone, you must talk louder than that person, or you must keep your head on the table, or if another person says like, you must say what, or you must not respond to any questions. You can't have more than one of these, so if you get one, you give it to somebody else. There's also wild cards in the game. The cheetah actually has more wild cards than anyone else, and so when you play these cards, you can play them on top of any number as long as you do whatever it says here. This is until the next turn. You can play a card after each neighbor. You must also talk really, really quickly then the whole time. If you stop talking, this effect ends. Okay? And they even have ones that you can write your own things that players have to do on them. Like maybe, for example, the duck here, or the quack, has to ask Cow for a hat. She would choose a suitable nearby object. The next time you would pick up a play pile, you may instead remove the hat to skip your turn. So these are all kinds of weird things that you can do. Players are going to keep drawing these cards. If a player breaks a rule, whether it's the bully rule or perhaps the cow rule that says you must not say hello or whatever. If you do that, then you must draw a card, and everyone to your left also draws an extra card. And then, except for the player who caught you. So if I point out, hey, you broke this rule, I'm skipped. And the cheetah is always skipped. Another way to get cards is if you can't play a card on the pile for some reason, then you must take the whole pile and put it into your hand. Once the deck runs out, all rules are ignored, all cow rules, all bully rules, and players are just trying to get rid of the cards in their hand. At that point, the first person to get rid of their cards becomes the cow for the next round. The second person to get rid of all their cards becomes the bully, and you go around, etc., until everybody has a new roll. You then continue playing. According to the rules, there's no exhaustion here. I mean, there's no ending the game. You just play until there is exhaustion, and you guys quit. Grumble, grumble, grumble at the lack of winning conditions. You gotta have some kind of winning. I mean, yes, I know this is an experience game, but if you don't care who wins, then you don't why are you playing? I don't know. There should have been some sort of victory condition. I guess you could make one. The first person to become the cow twice. Or something to that effect. I'd make something. But the game, honestly, is all about the silliness. Like I said, that this game mechanism of playing cards on top of each other is nothing new. We've seen it in many different games. And there is some happiness, especially when you can play 5 of the same number down or something, That feels good to... And it's really funny when there's a pile of cards this thick and someone has to pull them into their hand. I like the cow rules. I've played many games, Maui, where you have these rules, although sometimes they're secret. There's so many different variations, but the rules are silly. I do think they didn't include enough of them in this game. There's a lot of bully rules, but there's not that many cow rules. I want to say there's like maybe 10 or 12. There's not that many of them. And I think, for a game like this, with the focus was on them, I don't think they need it to be this big. They could have cut them in half and doubled the number of cards. Like I said, I think the artwork is cool. The game is suitably silly enough, and kids love it. Oh my goodness, do kids love it. I played this game with kids, and it has gone over like gangbusters. Adults, not so much. No one necessarily is always in the mood to purr like a cat. I've always said that I like games that are funny naturally. Games that force you to be funny are not games that I'm interested in. So for me, not interested in this at all. But when I played it with my youth group, just went over like gangbusters. Wow. Did they like it? They liked the rules. They liked having to balance a card on their head. They liked having to make someone else laugh. When one card said you had to be lower than another player, that player got down on the floor. And I just have to draw a card because the card fell off my head. And so it's pure silly fun. Know what you're getting into. If you like that silliness, if you love the zaniness and the bully cards and the funny actions, and you want to even write more of your own, then you're going to love this game. So I didn't hate it. I thought it was okay of a game. But kids, they love it.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Good. Good.